Welcome to the show Gold Squadron Gays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays talk about and review their favorite Star Wars content while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
I'm your other host, Charles Rogers. And Bradley,
Yes.
It's time to bring back one of my favorite segments that recurred on the show,
Okay.
which is Reed Pop Sucks in Gorged Lobster Balls.
Yes.
Yes, everybody got to help me demonstrate this week, as of recording this, why I say that Reed Pop sucks in Gorged Lobster Balls.
You thought they would have
Because
learned
that
from last year,
ticket
but
rollout was a fucking disaster.
it was a nightmare. The fact that I had, three different devices going to do this, mind you. I had an alarm set. I had three devices. I had my iPad. Which I never use, by the way. I had my iPad, my computer, and my phone
I've seen
up
you use it once.
all at the same time.
Ever.
Yeah. And I'm like, what am I? Like, you would have thought I was trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets. Like, it was literally like I was a psychopath.
No, because I was talking to a friend of mine who was also in the Ticket Wars, and he said that, like, he has never seen any, like, he gets, like, Taylor Swift tickets, and he gets, like,
Sure.
sold out concert tickets, and he has to fight for those, and he said he's never seen a rollout as bad as this for anything.
It was so weird too because it was the discrepancy of my screens too. Like, mind you, I logged in all relatively within the same minute and one time, right? Like on my different devices. And only one of these devices, the little green man, started running across the screen even remotely. The other ones sat completely still while we were all talking. And I don't understand the discrepancy because I was like, because I specifically, I used my desktop internet. Phone, I turned off internet so that it was just data because I figured, oh, my phone's gonna like actually work better because it doesn't have to rely on the internet to whatever, and I had a decent signal, so I was like, whatever. Nope, that didn't help at all. That one was completely a wash because I was like, well, I'm not even gonna look at that phone anymore because my computer is halfway on the loading screen and my other one's like barely even an inch on the thing.
So if you're not familiar with what in the hell we are talking about, very, very briefly, tickets for Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles went on sale this week, and it was an absolute unmitigated disaster. Lots of people did not get their tickets. The people who got tickets had to do what Bradley described, which is to say have basically game the system in order to try to make sure. I think was Molly Damon posted about needing to have like 8 different incognito browser windows open
Right.
to get the tickets for her and Alex from Star Wars Explained to go.
Right.
So, like, it was nuts. And then, yeah, they also did this thing to where they upped the amount. Previously, it was like you could buy, like, I guess 10 tickets per order, 5 tickets per order. It was somewhere in that ballpark. It was 5 to 10, basically.
Right.
You could get in one order. And they upped it to 20
I-
tickets you could get in a single order.
I'm trying
which
to.
basically meant
I'm
that
genuinely
scalpers-
trying to figure out why that's a possibility.
No fucking reason. We don't know why. Nobody has been able to come up with a good reason why the fuck you would do that.
Yeah, like who genuinely and if you do genuinely need 20 tickets at one time, I applaud you, like whatever, like that's fine. You are one of very like the less than 1% of the population who needs 20 tickets at one time because you have 19 family members that want to go to a celebration with you. I
We're
don't
trying
understand.
to get tickets for you and your entire neighborhood block. Like,
Right, like what is the
are you
actual
doing?
reason?
There's no reason. Nobody can figure out why they did this. It's so fucking stupid.
It really
And
is stupid.
we had a group chat going and Bradley got further. So like the only reason that I'm going on the 4-day is because when Bradley got to the front of the line, we were like, you know what, just grab one. Just grab a
an
4-day.
extra one. Yeah.
Just
Well, because
grab
I
an
wasn't
extra one.
originally going to.
No, you weren't. You were just gonna get yours.
I was just gonna get mine thinking like, oh, it's not a big deal. We're all gonna get in. It's not, and thank God I did get in.
That's
and
what I
did
began
have
to
an extra
realize.
ticket.
Yeah, that's what I began to realize. It became abundantly clear really quickly that I was not going to get in anytime soon.
Mhm.
So,
And mind you, while I
And-
had finished getting the tickets, after I refreshed the page to be like, okay, let me just go back in and see if I can like buy tickets again just to see like what the thing is, and they were already sold out when I went back in.
the 4 days had
Yeah.
sold out. By the time I got to the front of the line, there were only Thursday, Friday, and Sunday left. But yeah, it's just sheer dumb luck that Bradley managed to get one of his guys to the front of the line in time to get 2 4-day tickets for us. I think it's gonna. I was about to mention this to you, and then you said we should hit record. That I think that this is gonna bite them because they're gonna see attendance go down
I think so.
because people are not gonna want to pay
Three
over a
thousand, four
fucking
thousand
thousand
dollars. Yeah.
dollars,
No.
$3,000, $4,000 for a 4-day pass.
I saw some on eBay already. Like I
Hmm.
saw screenshots and I'm like, who's spending 2K on a 4-day pass? That's insane. I barely want to spend 200 on a 4-day pass. I mean, that's like, and that's already for me, like I feel like that's a lot. And like, granted, $50 a day, okay, I can understand that kind of. But like, I don't know, dude. It's one of those things where I almost wish they only sold tickets day of.
They should hold like some back for
There
day
should
of.
be a select amount that you could theoretically go to will call, stand in line, and have a chance to get in. I think there should be some capacity of that. Like every day, there's a limit on how many will call tickets they can sell, like day of. And like, okay, because we know we have X amount of people that are gonna come because we sold this amount of tickets already. So we know what the venue can hold. So like here's the 50 plus 100 plus whatever they know is the safe like amount of tickets they're allowed to sell for the venue. But also, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I kind of wish they were day of only sales. There was no pre-sale for this whole event. It's you just get there when
At
you
this
get there and
point,
you have
that
to,
would be at this point, honestly, that would be better than whatever the hell this is.
yeah, minus like okay, I could understand like VIP or like something else because that's like a different bracket of ticket, but like just generic general admission should just
Yeah,
be day of.
yeah, and I get too that like if you want to get into the showcase or something, it's got to be a pre-sale, but I would have held, 40% of the tickets back
Yeah,
for day of. I've seen this firsthand. There's people that if there's a convention and it looks fun, people will walk up to it and just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a ticket to this thing."
that's
And
right.
because this has been so badly mishandled, it has made this event like so absurdly exclusive that, we don't it's frustrating. It's so frustrating
It
too
really
because
is.
this is the first domestic Star Wars celebration in 5 years. The last one was 2022. This one will be 2027. I know how to math. I know it's 2026. By the time the event happens, it'll be the first event in 5 years that's domestic. So a lot of people wanted to go who are not going to be able to go. That's part of the increased ticket sales or the increased ticket demand
Right.
is that there's just a lot of people who couldn't afford to fly to Japan or afford to fly to London. And also, like, especially with Japan, with the current administration, there were a lot of people who weren't comfortable leaving the country because
Right.
they weren't sure they would get back in. So, it's just a perfect storm of absolute fucking bullshit
It really was.
that it's a mess. They need to drop Reed Pop. They really do. It's bad at
Anything
running.
else aside, they're just bad.
They're just bad at they're bad at their job.
Yeah, they
They
are.
are bad at their job. Everyone I know hates them. Not a single person is out here defending Reed Pop. They need to fucking drop them when the contract ends and go with a different vendor.
Agree.
Let's talk about a good Star Wars thing.
This week we're talking about Maul Shadow Lord Season 1, Chapter 5, Inquisition. Captain Lawson faces a sobering new reality. Charles, what's one thing you liked about the episode and one thing you did not?
One thing I really liked about the episode was the way that Maroc was handled.
Hmm.
Generally, I think this is how the Inquisitors should have been handled the whole time. It really harkens back to Second Sister for me. It
Okay.
really harkens back to like the Grand Inquisitor from season one. There's a little bit of rule of conservation of ninjutsu going on with the Inquisitors. Are you familiar with this? The rule of the conservation of ninjutsu? So the rule is when it comes to media is that one ninja is a problem, but 20 ninjas are cannon fodder.
Ah,
The idea is
okay.
there are certain types of mooks that like the more of them there are, the less scary they become.
Yes, I get it.
And I think drilling it down to one or two Inquisitors doing Inquisitor stuff, it's great. I love how he's handled in this episode. One thing I didn't like about the episode, as I watch back through it again, it's very much set up for the next episode. It's not really got a whole lot besides Maroc and the Empire are here now going interesting happening in it. a lot of the character beats are just reinforcing things that we already know, which is fine. It's still good storytelling to reinforce, especially in a series with multiple episodes. Hey, remember, this is the character arc that we're on for X, Y, and Z character. But it did feel a lot like it was mainly just moving pieces into place for the big chase scene in episode 6. Particularly the scene with Riley's mom felt once again like a scene that's in here to set something up that does not get paid off this season. We'll talk about Riley's mom when we get there, but that was how that felt to me is like we're setting her up, we're establishing she exists as a character, and then we're not going to deal with this until literally the end of kind of deal with it at the end of episode 10. So, what about you, Bradley? One thing you liked and one thing you did not.
I actually, I know I say this jokingly all the time, but I genuinely have the exact same thing. I think
We've been doing this podcast together for too long.
no, I think that the thing I didn't like was that this one was a little bit too dependent on next week's episode. I felt like they are truly sister episodes in that they needed to be one big episode because they're like, I think the second episode next week is a little action heavy, like to the point where this one just did all the setup. It was just like, here's all the setup, and then now we can just chase each other in the next episode, which is fine. It's just, like it's one big episode to me. I don't really think of this as its own episode. I kind of think of it as a pair. But I did love Merrick. He truly, they gave him the thing I love about this episode is that they give him things to do, or they give him character things that make him more of a character and not just some random glup shido that gets killed in Ahsoka. Like they genuinely give him like things that make him a real character, and we'll talk about it as we get into it more, but he's becoming less of a glup shido and more of a Boba Fett. Like I feel like Boba Fett started off as a glup shido and then evolved over time to be a real character versus like Merrick. I feel like is this we're getting the same thing here, is that he starts off as a nothing character, like legitimately he's just a foil for Ahsoka. Kind of, he's not even really a foil for her because they fight twice, so it's not even really that much of a foil. He's just kind of a cool thing that she has to fight. He's just better than like fighting robots, I guess, that she does in the first episode. Like he's just a little bit more interesting. I mean, he's like what, one line in Ahsoka, which is
He
like,
has
yes,
one line, and
master.
we couldn't even figure out who voiced him. It's during the fighter pilot or the fighter
Right.
scene where
So,
they're having the fight in the atmosphere, and he has like one line to Shin. So we
yeah.
established he does speak.
Yeah.
He just never speaks in the episode.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. In this one, he does have, I think, maybe two lines in this, but it's but even though there are only two lines, he is now establishing himself as like a person. There's just, we'll talk about it when we get to it, when we see more things in, but I just want to talk about like why he's so much better now than what he was.
He's also a really great detective, and we will talk about how scary he is as a detective when we get to the scenes at the crime scene. Two things I do want to address really quickly before we dive into the episode. The first is the thing Charles fucked up,
Okay.
kind of, because it was drawn to my attention. I didn't realize at the time that we originally went through the voice actor for Master Daki, where I'd heard Dennis Haysbert's voice before,
Okay.
because we went through his IMDb. But this is not listed on his IMDb. Somebody
Of
had to
course.
point this out to me. Dennis Haysbert, the reason Master Daki's deep, melodious voice sounds so warm and trustworthy is because Dennis Haysbert is one of the Allstate guys. Specifically, he's that's Allstate stand, are you in good hands guy.
That's where I know. That's
That's
exactly
where
where
you
it's
know the
from.
voice of Master Daki. So
Not sponsored, by the way.
guarantee he's got a long resume of stuff that he was in. You know his voice from the Allstate commercials. The second thing is that friend of the show, Hope from J Guys and Jedi, hi Hope, sent me some comments on episode 3 that I'm gonna read aloud just because I thought they were really good comments.
Okay.
So she says, quote, catching up on GSG, y'all's conversation about whether or not / how Maul knew Devin's name got me thinking about the power of names in the story. At first, it was reminding me of a reverse Rumpelstiltskin sort of thing. He has the power over Devon and is trying to force her to make a deal with him. Like Rumpel, his hubris gets the best of him. He loses his patience and he reveals he already knows her name, something she had kept hidden from Lawson too because of her Jedi past. Devon and our master's names are dangerous. They are Jedi. They're probably on a list to be hunted like we see in the Vader comic. Their names hold a certain power to them, and Maul knows this. Only he doesn't have the patience of Sidious and reveals he always knew this about Devon. And speaking of Sidious, he had an interesting role in the story. Vario, Sewell, and the crime bosses talk about Maul like if they say his name too loudly, it will give him power. They're very careful how they use Maul's name. However, Maul throws around Sidious's name to Rook like it's nothing. It struck me as surprising at first that he just names dropped Sidious out of the blue, but that's probably what he always called Papa Palps. In a way, it makes Sidious less of a boogeyman the more people know who know that name, because so few do, it holds more power. End quote. Like I said on that particular episode, one of the things I liked about this show is that you can have different interpretations, and it still kind of works.
Right.
I really like the interpretation that, like, he slips up and reveals her name. Like, that's also a perfectly valid interpretation of the
I love
scene
it.
based on what we have.
That's why the show is good.
That's why one of the reasons this show is great is that you can interpret it a number of different ways and it still works.
Section 1. An Imperial Star Destroyer arrives over Janik City and deploys troops, locking down all off-world travel. Civilians react with fear while Rook Cast and the Shadow Collective observe the Empire taking control. Master Daki urges Devon to escape Janix before transports are grounded, and he insists they focus on surviving rather than dealing with Maul. At Janix Civil Defense HQ, Chief Kleiss blames Two Boots for causing trouble during the crisis. Although Lawson offers to accept responsibility, Kleiss says the burden is hers and notes that they are fortunate not to be sheltering Jedi. Lieutenant Blake and a squad of stormtroopers arrive at the command center, and Blake accuses Kleiss of hiding information from the Empire. He takes control of the investigation and orders her to undergo interrogation.
In episode 3, we talked about the shadow of Maul falling over Devon. They have a shot. The opening shot of this is a mirror of that, with the shadow of the Empire is now falling over Janix because subtlety is for cowards.
And this is just a minor thing that I just noticed throughout the episode. But every time we cut back to HQ, you see the Star Destroyer in the sky because the shot
Oh, I
that
didn't
they
even notice.
so the shot that they use every time they cut to HQ is a different variation of just the building itself, and then the background of the sky is like blue usually. And now it's covered with the Star Destroyer in the sky looming over the headquarters. Just very interesting detail that I mean, obviously, that they have every time.
I love this fucking show. I love this fucking show so much.
Amazing.
It's so good. We see the stormtroopers disembarking. It is the TK troopers, so the precursor to the modern stormtrooper. The StarWars.com trivia guide does note that, quote, they're the first drafted Imperial soldiers following the gradual retirement of the clone army of the Republic and a precursor to the classic Stormtrooper, end quote. So we are dealing with around late Bad Batch.
Right.
Is about where this is falling.
I also noticed that I forget what those ships are called.
The LAAT gunships.
LAT is it
the
called?
LAT
Yeah.
gunships.
The LAT gunships, they're all grayed out now. So they're all like
Yes.
devoid of any like pre-Republic not artwork, but we'll call it like, they had the red accents on them before when it was during Attack of the
The
Clones.
red and green accents, yeah.
Right. And now they're completely gray, Empire Millennial gray.
Yep. They're gray and white now because all the color has been washed out of it.
Mm-hmm. All the individualism is gone.
Yep. And we also see disembarking Lieutenant Blake. I happen to have a lot to say about Lieutenant Blake in this episode. But right off the bat, I love that he is the most repulsive looking, pasty, bland white guy I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, perfect.
Like, he just looks like the type of dude who would absolutely love to be in this position of power.
Oh,
like they are not trying to do like a callous thing where it's like a hot guy.
Right.
They're not trying to do that. No, they're like, this dude's a fucking dweeb. And you know it just from the way he carries himself, that he's having the time of his life in this position. Right as he steps off the shuttle, like before he even says a word, you already know this guy sucks.
Well, he's almost kind of like in the vein of, oh, I love getting a new city. Like I love taking control of a new territory. Like it's very much like,
He's
oh, now I
kind
have
of
all this
getting off
power.
on it.
Yeah, he's like, I have all this new power. I love it.
Uh-huh. We'll talk about him in a second too, because I do want to jump back to Docky and Devin.
Okay.
One line in particular, there's been an ongoing theme in the show of Maul, one of Maul's criticisms of Docky being like, you're surviving, you're not living. And Docky does tell Devin, like, because Devin still wants to go after Maul, and Docky's like, no, we
He's
need to
like,
survive this.
he's not wrong, mind you. If I were him, I think I'd also be like, yeah, let's let the Empire handle them all. Like, why the fuck are we doing it? Like, they're here. Like, let's go. Like, let's get the fuck out of here. I get it.
Yes, he's the core of what he's saying is correct. The way he says it is kind of interesting because he does
Mm.
say, "We'll let the Empire handle him," basically.
Which, and Devin, she doesn't say it in so many words, but the problem with teaching the Padawans or whatever, like right and wrong, and that we're the protectors of the galaxy and all this bullshit, is like, okay, now we know there is a evil. I don't want to call him Sith because he's not really Sith anymore, but there is a
Formerly Darth, now just Maul.
right. There's a evil, we'll call him an evil Jedi, let's say. Because like it's the opposite of what they are, but it's not a
There is a
established
dark side
religion.
using crazy
A
person
dark
running
sider. Okay,
around
right.
building a criminal empire.
There is a dark sider that they know about, they have knowledge of. And in her mind, it is their responsibility to protect the people of Janix from this dark sider because regular people cannot handle a dark sider. That's just not like a normal thing to protect against. Pirates, bad guys, whatever, let the Empire or let the police handle all that, right? Like that's normal. That's not their job. But an evil sorcerer with a laser sword is not something that the cops can handle. It's up to us to handle that. And then Docky just being like, yeah, the Empire can handle it. Like, he knows they can't. Or at least he knows, like, if they want to survive, they need to leave.
Right. And also, like, I think he probably knows that the Empire's got some plan to deal with Force users, otherwise they would not have wiped all of them out.
Right.
Jumping back to the police precinct, Lieutenant Blake does speak for the first time. Do you have any information, Bradley, on the voice actor playing Lieutenant Blake?
Yes, Lieutenant Blake is being played by Alastair Murden. He is a UK actor. His most notable credits involve his voice acting work in video games such as Starfield and Dune Awakening. He does have a Disney voice trifecta. He was a narrator on the Miss Marvel series in one episode, and he has a Disney Frozen podcast series credit. Doesn't say what he did in that, but it counts as Disney. He can also be heard as the voice of Loki at various Disney parks and cruise lines. So I don't know what that entails, but he does the voices of. So I've never been on a Disney cruise, so I wouldn't know what that means. But
I've
maybe Loki
also,
comes on the intercom and just says stuff once in a while. I don't know how that works, but
I have no idea.
but yeah,
None whatsoever. I love the way he's animated. So
okay,
there's like a moment where he stands up straighter and he like pulls his uniform down and like rolls his shoulders back because he's like lording his power over Chief Kleiss. Because Chief Kleiss is doing the whole, who's asking? I'm in
yeah. Who do
charge
you think you
here.
are? Yeah,
Who do you think you are? And Blake's like, no, no, no. Because I know where this is going. And where this is going is I have a ton of stormtroopers and a Star Destroyer and an Inquisitor. You do not.
yeah. It's giving like you might be the chief of police, but I'm a lieutenant in the army. Like it's like kind of like I'm obviously above you kind of thing because like my power and my reach is a little bit stronger than yours, and yours is just a localized power.
It's the whole feds come in and clash with the local authorities cop trope
Yeah.
that we've seen 1,000 times before, except this time the feds have a
A mercenary and an
dark
army.
wizard that they have brought with
Yeah.
them.
They have a magic
So,
user and
yep, they have a martial arts sword fighting dark wizard that
yeah.
they have in their pocket. So
Which
like,
not a bad thing to have in the pocket, by the way.
and their
I mean,
capacity to call in multiple sword wielding dark wizards.
True that.
So also the fucking battleship that they have parked in the sky. Just again, it goes back to the animation has gotten so good that they can make it look like an actor making choices.
Hmm.
It's incredible. This guy does not play that big of a role in the series,
No,
but he's very memorable just because he's animated so well.
and you know what's funny is visually he looks a lot like the Imperial lady from the Visions episode.
Oh my
The
God, you're right. The one that's voiced by Lysa Arryn.
Yes, looks visually very similar, like in the face and like the harshness of his nose. Like he's very like, he just looks like the same. Like I mean, obviously they're supposed to be Imperial, so they're all supposed to look visually somewhat similar. But I mean, like, I don't know. I just when I saw his face for the first time, like my brain instantly went to that Visions episode because just stylized wise, I was like, oh, he kind of looks a little pasty, like a little blotchy, like the just the way they did his just demeanor is great. It's amazing. Section 2. Imperial forces tighten control over Janik City by checking civilians and preparing a full lockdown. Spybot reports this to Maul, but despite Cass's concerns and suggestions to flee, Maul insists on sticking with a plan. Vario questions Maul about their future now that Imperial occupation has disrupted smuggling operations, and Maul reminds Vario that survival is his reward. Nearby, Rook deals with unrest among her Mandalorians when they complain about the Empire and lack of payments. And meanwhile, back at HQ, Lawson anxiously watches Imperial forces. Two Boots tries to comfort him, but Lawson warns that the Empire's arrival will have lasting consequences beyond defeating Maul, and Lawson is suddenly pulled in for questioning after Lieutenant Blake reveals that Chief Klyce has been permanently removed from her position. Lawson is taken into an interrogation room and notices signs of violence, and is then confronted by the Inquisitor Merrick, who demands information.
There are two shots that I want to bring up here because they're such a good example of visual storytelling that I was flabbergasted. One of the opening shots of the episode is of people in the stadium parking lot for the polo ball game. And people are like running out into the parking lot to look at the Star Destroyer arrive. At this point, they cut to the parking lot again, and now we have LAAT gunships there. It's empty except for stormtroopers, and they have locked the stadium down. It's such a good, like, the Empire has come in and shut the whole thing down.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
whole
such a
city is
great,
just, yeah.
great example of visual storytelling that's so subtle you might miss it. But we talk about like different pieces of media having different languages. So there's a certain language to film, there's a certain language to visual media that's a different language than TV, that's a different language than books, it's a different language than music. This is one of those things we're talking about when we say the language of film or the language of visual storytelling. You didn't notice this, but your brain did, and that's what makes it so effective. Meanwhile, Maul is being annoyed. I don't think we give Sam Witwer enough credit
Yeah.
in these episodes. He's the linchpin holding this whole show together.
He really is. And to the point to where like I genuinely believe that this may be controversial, but I think they should do another Darth Maul project, live action. And I think Sam Witwer should play
I think they should just cast
Darth
Sam
Maul.
Witwer.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah,
that's
he's the
really it's
voice.
controversial because I don't think we need it. However, I for some reason I want to see it.
Look at like if you see behind the scenes of him doing the voice, like he gets into it in a way I've never seen anyone get into it that's not Mark Hamill's Joker.
It's almost the same. It's very much like he when he's doing the voice, he physically like hunches over. He does this thing with his body where he starts emoting the character, and it's like he is Maul. Like
He
he
drew
is.
lines on his face so they could motion capture his face to
I
animate
mean,
like the lines on Maul's face. The way he says, I specifically noted the conversation he's having with Rook is Rook basically saying, dude, like, we gotta leave.
but yeah, it's time to
And Maul
go.
being like, not yet, not yet, not yet. She's like, is it that fucking Jedi girl? And he has this line where he says, Rook says she tried to kill you. And he goes, an admirable attempt. She'll make an excellent apprentice. Stick to the fucking plan.
It's funny that he said that because in the one hand, it's like,
I added the fucking, but the way he
no,
says it, you can hear it.
no, it's he does say that he's like, why would we change the plan because of the Empire. Like we're still doing the same plan we were always going to do. Which, mind you, I'm confused about what the quote unquote plan is at this point because I'm like, if you were just trying to get off world at some point, or what, I don't even know what his plan was. It doesn't even make any sense, honestly, in this scene. But
The plan is to recruit an apprentice that he can use to kill Sidious.
yeah, but then at that point, it's like just go get
It's not a
her.
particularly good plan.
No, it's not a very good plan, but
It's
it's
the
just
same
interesting.
plan that he's
Yeah.
keeps trying to do over and over again. But I love the way that Sam Witwer delivers every
Mhm.
Maul line. Like
Well,
every line of dialogue from him could be a 5 minute segment in itself dissecting it.
well, that's why I love him talking to Vario because Vario's like, "Hey, so like I need to get out of here. Like I think we could go now, right? Like I'm good. I'm free to go." And he's like, "Your reward is that you're fucking still alive."
Also, he's like, you can leave
You can leave whenever you want,
anytime you want.
or
Mhm.
you could stay alive and stay with me
Your choices are me or the
or
Empire.
jail. Or yeah, I was gonna say like prison. Like
It reminds me of the Azula introductory scene where she does the line like, maybe you should worry less about the tides who have already made up their mind about killing you and more about me who is still deciding. That's what this is giving me here. Vario really is stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
yeah, because he's thinking on the one hand, like I could leave, but then I don't have the protection anymore. Or I could stay and I'm stuck in underground, like in a hole. Like, it does kind of suck for him, but either way.
The bowels are not so bad, except for, the darkness and the smell. I love that he talks to himself.
Right. Oh
Like
yeah,
this
when
is
they
not a
cut to
thing
him
he
just
just
like being by
does.
himself. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when Maul walks off and Vario's just kind of wandering around muttering to himself. Rook goes into this room, this closet where with two of the mercenaries, two of the Mandos that she's with, and we do get a little moment where it reinforces that the Mandalorians that she's with are there to get paid. They're mercenaries.
Right.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, she is loyal to Maul, but the Mandalorians overall are not.
Right. She's just paying them.
They're just getting paid by Maul, and they've been promised a payday to do all of this violence on Maul's behalf.
It is interesting because if you look at the Shadow Collective team, right, you have Rookcast, who is his lieutenant, his right hand, right? Then you
She's a true
have
believer.
she's a true believer. Then you have the brothers, Icarus and
Scorn.
Scorn, who I believe also genuinely follow Maul. I don't think they're the same thing as the Mandalorians.
I think they're in it to do violence because
Yeah, I
they
think they
like
just
doing
like the chaos,
violence.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, the Mandalorians, which are just hired hand. They are expendable. They are there just to get paid. They just want credits.
Two Boots still does not comprehend what the Empire is doing. And I will say it's interesting too that Two Boots' excuse is like when Lawson's like, have you thought about this ahead of time? Because I don't have enough information
Right.
to make
So then
that
why would you do
determination.
what you did?
Because he's programmed to do it.
I
Because
know,
he's
but
programmed to
it's
follow directives, and that was a directive.
right.
This is the problem: is they programmed him a certain way, and he doesn't have the information that he doesn't have the experience that Lawson does.
Right.
Which that will come up in the later. I bring it up now because that will come up in the back episode 7 and 8.
Right.
However, there's a moment I need to bring up before we get into the interrogation room, and
Okay.
it is the moment where Blake summons Lawson to
Okay.
his cop board of strings and pictures, the Star Wars equivalent. Blake does this by turning around and snapping his fucking fingers to summon Lawson like a fucking dog.
Right.
I hate Blake so much. I cannot stand his ass.
Which is why he's a good character.
Which is why he's a good character, because it's the choice to do that. He doesn't
Mhm.
just turn around and say, Lawson comes over here. He fucking snaps his fingers and expects people to heal.
I love it.
Wild shit. Lawson gets dragged into the interrogation room. There are scratches on the table, which is
Yeah.
horrifying. Klyce is definitely dead.
I know, but you
Because
know
they
my
say,
rule. No body, no crime. But
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that the scratches give the impression so viscerally of violence that happened in this room without needing to get overtly bloody or gory.
which leads me to believe this was a mind probe situation or some kind of
Oh, yeah, definitely.
like force, like what Kylo does in Force Awakens or whatever to Rey, like where he's like probing her mind, he's like reaching in with the force and trying to pull the information out.
Yep.
So I don't understand Chief's Kleist's like motives here, or there's two things happening here. One is she was being resistant on purpose because she's just like, I don't like the Empire. I don't want to deal with the Empire. My other thing is, when it's more what I'm leaning towards, is that the Empire knew already the information that she was going to give, and they are punishing her for her
I think that's what it
treason.
is. I think also too that they recognize she's going to be difficult, so
Mm.
Marak extracted the information he needed, and then they killed her
I think that's
because
more likely. Yeah.
they're just going to keep killing people in charge of this department until they find somebody willing to take over it that is going to be more flexible and more
Right.
like willing to work with them. They make Lawson sit down at the table. He's sitting there. The room is dark, and then Marak just fucking appears behind him
Out of the shadows,
out of the shadows, puts his
hands on
creepy
his
little
shoulders in this
hands.
creepy fucking way. Like, God, tell me what I want to know. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So
It's
creepy.
immediately frightening.
Oh,
Immediately
it's the scariest thing I've
10
ever seen.
10,000 times freakier than his appearances anywhere else.
At, at all. It's amazing.
Like there's the aura farming, to use the TikTok term, that the Inquisitors normally do. Marak is on a level above that.
Hmm.
Marak is coming close to Vader in terms of how he commands he commands the room immediately when he appears. Do you have information on who's voicing him?
I do. We have talked about him before, but I'm going to give you a little refresher and then you'll know why we've talked about him before. AJ Lacasio is doing the voice of Merrick. He is known for his roles in the Voltron Legendary Defender series. He was also Marty McFly in Back to the Future, the game. He does have a Disney trifecta as he is Gambit in X-Men 97, and he did voice work in Tinkerbell and the Legends of the Never Beast and Incredibles 2. This is not his first Star Wars. In video games, he was a pilot in Star Wars Squadrons. In Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, he was Han Solo. In TV, he was in Forces of Destiny and Lego Terrifying Tales and the Holiday Special as Han Solo. Lego Star Wars All Stars as a Stormtrooper. And he was the young version of Cad Bane in Tales of the Underworld.
Ah, that's where we've talked about him before.
Yes, all that to say at the very end, Tales of the Underworld.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad they finally gave him a voice. It's not, I mean, it's nice that he has a voice. It's nice that he's saying things and he's doing stuff. I don't know. I love that he's here. Let's see more of him soon. Section 3. Docky and Devon travel through Janik City while debating. Devon wonders if teaming up with Maul against the Empire might be necessary since they could not defeat him alone, but Docky warns that Maul only cares about himself and can never truly be trusted. Outside Defense HQ, civilians panic over the Imperial takeover, disrupting services, and Riley sneaks inside looking for his father and reunites with Two Boots, who reveals Lawson is under investigation. While leaving, Lieutenant Blake interrupts them and orders Riley removed from the building. During his interrogation, Lawson explains to Merrick that he survived a deadly ambush involving Maul, and at the same time, Docky and Devon head towards a train station, planning to escape the city. Stormtroopers arrive at the platform and begin checking identification. Docky uses a mind trick to bypass inspection, but another trooper notices the deception. Docky and Devon fight the stormtroopers, and they are able to escape and hide until the search ends. Though exhausted, Docky assures Devon he is fine and not dead yet.
So Devon's basically like, "Hey, we gotta like do something. We gotta, we can help somehow." And Docky has a line: "It's your voice that speaks, but it's Maul's words that I hear." But also, Docky, you're like, you could do something
Right,
about this situation. Like he will only act later on when there's no other option.
right, they have
It
to.
takes him a long time to figure out like we're not going to get out of the city. Which I get that that's plan
Yeah,
A is get out of the
right,
city.
get out.
Your apprentice is here being like, we need to do something. You are not really giving her a good reason why you're
Other
not
than,
doing something.
yeah, I
And
just don't want to.
you've brought up the point before that this does seem kind of outside of the Jedi code to Devin. Like she's young, she wants to do something to help. In the scene where Riley goes into the room and has a conversation, the only note I have is a very interesting background note that I only caught because the subtitles were on.
Okay.
And that is if you listen really, really, really closely, the background voice is calling in additional troops to help with the processing of citizens at the spaceport. So they have, it's more details. We've seen the Empire throughout the episode come in and they're like stopping people in the streets. They're forcing everybody to show ID when they leave the station. Like they have just come in and are trampling all over everybody's civil liberties at this point.
Right.
Because this is what they're doing to
That's what
try
they
to
do.
find Maul. They're
Yeah.
harassing everybody, every random citizen.
It's not in this scene. I think it's actually in the docu scene before, but there's a stormtrooper voice in the background that goes, "Hey, you, let me see some identification. You look like you've seen something, or you look like you would
Yep.
know
You
something."
look like you know something.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I noted that line
"What does
too.
that mean?"
Just
What do you mean?
immediate.
What do they look like they
What do you
know
mean you
something?
look like you know
Yeah, what does
something?
that mean, Mr.
It
Stormtrooper? Canceled.
uh it
Um,
means oh well we're canceling the empire.
right.
We're
I
canceling the
know.
fascist
But
regime.
I find it funny is I don't think I've ever caught in the audio or just in general them profiling other than them just stopping people just in on screen, like, they just as they do indiscriminately. But this is the first time that I've ever like heard it vocalized that they're like racially profiling. Like they're like,
Resistance, I'm not going to spoil it too much. Resistance will do this.
oh,
We will
okay.
do a version of this where, but yes, we are seeing very clearly that the Empire is treating aliens differently
Yeah,
and it's treating people that look like they know something or look suspicious differently. It's crazy how detailed this show is.
for real.
Cut to Lawson and Maroc having a conversation, still having their conversation. It's really only relevant in that Lawson is definitely hiding the Jedi from Maroc, but telling him everything else. Maroc definitely knows that Lawson is hiding something from him. But my note concerns the fact that he's so fucking creepy, wandering around half in and out of the shadows. The lighting in this interrogation room is so fucking good.
I also wonder why I mean, I guess other than just punishing Kleiss, like, why doesn't Merrick pull the information out of him too? Like, why is he just letting
We'll
Lawson
get to
just,
that.
okay,
We'll get to what, because he knows something's up with
okay,
Lawson, but he wants to know what it is. Kleiss was not cooperating at all. And also, Kleiss didn't know anything.
true. She genuinely doesn't know.
She genuinely doesn't know. Maroc is also smarter. He's not a hammer, he's a scalpel.
Right, 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 right. Okay,
His job is not to just run roughshod over everybody. His job is to find Maul. I want to note that Daki's original plan is to hide in a ruin outside of the city.
hmm
Just mentioning there is a ruin outside of the city. That will be relevant in episode 10. But that ruin was mentioned here.
I did not catch that before, and now I'm like, oh,
Yep.
okay.
Daki does have a line where I think it is one of those moments where I'm not even going to criticize him. He's absolutely correct. He basically says to Devin, like, look, I've seen this. I've lived long enough that I've seen this type of thing rise and fall. It always inevitably falls. He says, quote, tyranny is always defeated. We must remain hopeful, end quote. It's one of those few moments where I'm like, okay, you're not being stupid. Like, genuinely, this is a good thing to hang on to. And I think it's also super relevant right now to say, look, I know things are bad, but they will get better. They always get better. It never lasts forever.
This also raised a question for me, which is how the fuck old is Daki? Because if
Really
he's
fucking old.
like enough to where he's seen possibly more than one regime takeover in his lifetime, so
At
I
least
have
High
to
Republic
assume.
old.
That's what I was thinking. I was gonna say he had the initiative still be going on right now. What if they would have put him in
Oh, he's
like a
definitely going to
story?
pop up in one of the. He's definitely going to pop up in one of the side stories or something that
Yeah.
they're the continuing stories they're doing with the High Republic because he's definitely talking about Markion Row here.
Because I could see like them giving Daki like a book or something, like or like a prequel to this to like How was he established? Who was his master? All that good stuff.
The final detail in this scene that I noted that I really liked is that I love the plot element of the mind trick works on the stormtrooper, but Docky didn't account for all the other stormtroopers.
I have an issue with this only because my thing is not that because they did this in Tales of the Underworld too, when she does the mind trick on the one, and then I want to say it's the lady that's in the office says something to the other one, and it makes him go like, "Oh wait, no, obviously that's not a thing." Um, I don't understand why like he's like, "Okay, you guys are free to go." Like he mind tricks him into like doing the thing. And the other guy immediately assumes that the stormtrooper didn't check their identification and let them go. Like, why did he immediately assume?
I think because he was watching.
Okay,
He saw this conversation happen
gotcha.
and he saw them start to walk away. And he went up, he's like, whoa, 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 why didn't you check their identification? Because that's what they're doing for everybody.
I want to know the conversation afterwards. Like, so why did you let them go without checking their identification? And
Well,
then
he
he'd be
realizes, like,
huh?
oh, yeah, they're Jedi. Because
Gotcha.
also the TK troopers at this point are more likely to encounter Jedi than they are 17 years
Mm,
down the timeline
right.
when some random Imperial stormtrooper hanging out in a shitty backwater town on a shitty backwater planet is not expecting to run into Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi.
Section 4. Merrick and Imperial forces investigate the abandoned factory where Maul attacked the police. He finds a destroyed probe droid and signs of a lightsaber fight using the Force to gather intel. At his home, Riley calls his mother Drea. She tells him the Empire is there to protect the city and urges him not to interfere and advises Lawson to cooperate as well. Elsewhere, Docky decides he and Devin should stay hidden, and he says he knows someone who can help. Meanwhile, while his leg is being repaired, Rook informs Maul that the Jedi are trapped in the city. Back at HQ, Lieutenant Blake releases Lawson after questioning him. Exhausted, he returns home where Riley happily greets him. His relief quickly fades when he discovers Devin and Docky waiting inside his apartment.
Do you have information on the voice actor for Riley's fucking mom,
I do.
who sucks? We'll get to
Um,
that in a second.
and can I tell you, when I read who this was, I was shooketh.
I am so hyped to see more of this character,
Same.
if only because the voice actress they have cast, when I looked up her resume, my jaw dropped.
So Drea Lawson, I'm assuming she has the same last name, uh, is being played by Tamlin Tomita. She made her screen debut in The Karate Kid Part 2 and reprised her character for the streaming series Cobra Kai. She starred opposite Ming-Na Wen in the ensemble cast drama The Joy Luck Club. She has played several recurring roles on television series, including, but not limited to, Glee, Teen Wolf, and How to Get Away with Murder. She also has a reoccurring role in Star Trek Picard.
Yep, she was recently in Monarch Legacy of the Monsters. She's in Dead Boy Detectives for one episode,
Amazing.
the regrettably canceled
And when I tell you,
Netflix show.
when we inevitably do Teen Wolf, and when you find out who she is in Teen Wolf, I can't tell you because it's a spoiler. So
Okay.
like, but she's in 16 episodes, let's just say that, of one of the seasons. She's only in one season, but she's in like the full run of the show. Because she plays an important character. Important character's parent, but she's in the show. So,
No, she's incredible, and
oh,
they
she's
absolutely
amazing.
have cast her to use her later
Yes, and I thought the same thing.
based on the end of season 1 of this
Yes.
show.
Yes.
She will be back.
I 100% see that.
Definitely.
Because correct
Um,
me if I'm wrong, this is the last time we see her in
this
the
is the
show.
only time we see her in season
Okay,
1. This is
got
the
it.
only time we see her in person. She's
Right,
in the
right, right.
photograph on Lawson's desk.
Yes.
You know, we've seen her visually, but this is
Mhm.
the only time she makes an appearance as a character, which is great because she sucks a lot.
But in a good way. Like,
Oh, yeah. Brilliant character writing for her because
brilliant.
the first thing Riley calls her and is like, hey, like, there's Imperial troops here. Dad's being interrogated. Her immediate thought is, what the fuck did my ex-husband do?
Right, yeah. What did he do wrong?
What did he do wrong?
Right, because it's obviously his fault that he's
Correct.
being interrogated by
Yeah,
the Empire. Because the
it's
Empire
his
can't do anything
fault.
wrong. Right.
Exactly. She immediately assumes that she throws him under the bus immediately.
Immediately.
And then Riley's like, I don't know what to do in this situation. I am woefully unprepared for this. And her advice is don't interfere, cooperate, do what they tell you. And he's like,
Yeah, and
well,
he's a
what about
child. Like,
dad?
yeah.
And she's like, I don't know, make him do the same thing.
Yeah, just tell
Do
him to
you
follow the
not
rules too.
do you not know what the Empire does to its people it interrogates?
Well, this brings up more questions than it does answers, obviously. I want to know what she does for the
Yeah,
Empire.
I also want to know. She's wearing a very weird little uniform.
Very weird uniform that's very like number cruncher almost kind of uniform, like a person who sits at a desk kind of thing. It's like the willfully ignorant kind of Empire employee kind of.
I think she works in a department with like Cyril Karn.
I was gonna say I think it's the same outfit.
Her outfit reminds me of Cyril's
It
outfit when
gives
he
me
works in
data
fuel
center,
purity.
like she works in some kind of thing where she's doing shipments and
Yeah.
logistics and
She's some
like,
sort of logistics officer for
uh-huh,
something.
for sure.
We don't know what it is, but she's some sort of logistics officer for something.
Fast forward to here's my crazy conspiracy theory.
It's
What if
gonna
she
be the
works
fucking
on the
Death
Death
Star.
Star?
It's
I
gonna be the
know.
fucking
I
Death
was gonna
Star.
say that. What
It's
if
gonna
she
be
works on the
yep,
Death Star?
yep. It's gonna be the fucking
Fuck
Death Star.
me. I hope so, because that would legitimately be the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. Anyway,
Uh,
sorry. I do
yeah.
have one random thing about this scene before we move on, though, is that the hologram.
Yes.
Why? Okay, the two things happen in this hologram scene that I find really funny, and the holograms in Star Wars just make me laugh sometimes because I genuinely don't understand how they work sometimes, or how the hologram picks and chooses what parts to show of you. So when Riley turns on the call, he steps away to sit down, like to be like, okay, I gotta go sit, like because like she's gonna see me sitting in the hologram. When she pops up, she's full body, so it's like a full body thing. When she talks to him though, she squats down to get on his level, like she's in the room with him, and it's really funny because I'm just like I never understand like how they work.
He's
I
having to
just
like
I
adjust
just
the
want to know the
webcam.
logistics of these holographic Zoom calls. I just find them funny.
The
Because you
logistics
never
are
know.
it looks cool.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So Marak knows that some shit's up with Lawson. So he goes to the crime scene and
Hmm.
wordlessly, there is no dialogue in these scenes. From Marak, he wanders around, he sees evidence of the thing getting crushed. So, yes, okay, we're definitely dealing with a force user. We don't know necessarily that it's Maul. Then he goes up, and we saw this moment where the lightsaber is like cut into the scaffolding in episode 3 or episode 4, sorry. And Marak like runs a finger down it and realizes there's multiple lightsabers and realizes, oh, there's multiple lightsabers and people were fighting Maul. It's not us. So the only logical conclusion is that there's Jedi. Lawson knows about these Jedi, or he knows something that he's not telling me. There's a
Right.
part of the story he has left out. It's probably the Jedi. If I free Lawson, he might lead me directly to the Jedi.
I love it.
All of this is done without dialogue or spelling it out for the audience, but it makes complete sense.
Also, two things. One, this is kind of a minor one. When he walks into the factory, he does use the force or whatever to like push the barriers away. I thought that was interesting because in Ahsoka, he throws the lightsaber at her and it spins around her and then it comes back to him, obviously. I didn't necessarily see that as him using the force in that episode because later on, he's green smoke. So there's not like, can the green smoke use the force kind of thing? There's like a little questionable whether or not he's alive or can use magic in that.
StarWars.com is very vague. It just says that he meets his end in Ahsoka,
Right.
but
They
it's
don't
very, very
specify
vague about
anything. Yeah.
it's very, very vague about whether he was reanimated
Well, okay.
or had come
This
back
is
from the
another,
dead.
here's another thing that's gonna, okay. God, this is just, brings up so many questions. Okay. Because another thing is if we go back to Tales of the Empire, when we'll call it the first class of Inquisitors is introduced for the first time, you have Lynn, Barriss, Merrick, and Crow, and they're meeting Darth Vader for the first time, and they all kneel in front of him or whatever. Barriss is the only one who takes off her helmet and holds it at the side. Merrick doesn't take off his helmet,
No,
and
we have no
Crow
idea what he
doesn't
looks
take
like.
off his mask either. So they all like it's like oh, I'm showing you my face, like I'm being respectful kind of thing. Those two don't ever take off their masks. So my question is, can they take off their masks?
We also don't know where they come from
Right.
because
Or
we
what
don't
they
know.
are.
Lynn was clearly ready to fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, and we brought this up, I think, in Tales of the Empire, is that Lynn was McFucking ready to go.
Yeah.
She was in Inquisitor garb, walking in with clone troopers to Barris's cell while the Jedi Temple was still on fire.
Which is interesting because I
Which,
think she's the only genuine, other than the Grand Inquisitor or whatever. I think she's the only other truly like I'm a active Jedi person, like in a position of some kind of master. Like I was a Jedi master at some point, like and that quickly turned into an Inquisitor like immediately.
yeah, she Inquisitored immediately, and that
Immediately, yeah.
that leads to the question of where did Marok and Crow come from? Are
Right.
they Jedi?
Yeah, because I
Because
just don't
clearly
see
the
it.
Grand Inquisitor had at least one other Jedi, Lin, who was getting ready to turn, like immediately after the Empire fell.
So my thing with Crow and Merrick are obviously we don't know because we don't have confirmation. But
And Iskat gets recruited at Order 66.
my theory is that Crow and Merrick were one of the children that were taken early on.
Ooh.
And that they're the only two that are successful in their class, essentially. So like out of all the children, force sensitive children that were taken by Palpatine, because we have seen that multiple times over
Children
the
of
course of
Children of the Force, yeah,
yeah.
those episodes where he's taking
We haven't seen
taking
specifically them being taken, but I believe that they possibly have been in the process of becoming Inquisitors since childbirth, like or since they were children. But I think Barriss was just the first of the actual Jedi class that were turned or taken and co-opted because they were put in a situation that was it was die or become an Inquisitor kind of thing. And she was in jail, so it makes sense. But I don't know the history of all the other ones. We obviously know 13th Sister storyline, and we know Reva's storyline. All that to say, Merrick has force powers, is what I'm getting at, right?
right.
So, and Merrick has a very special force power that apparently is not something that a lot of people have, which is called what is it? Psycho something?
I don't think he has it's psychokinesis.
You don't think he
It's the
has that when
ability.
he's touching things and then seeing visions in
So,
his head?
not in the way that Quinlan or Cal Kestis do.
Well,
I think that
why though? Because we're just not seeing it visually,
that and the way that it manifests, like, is just echoes. Like he's hearing force echoes,
right?
but they're not very clear.
Yeah, but that could just be he's not trained very well in using that ability.
It's possible. It's possible that he's using like a variant, but this is like anybody who's used psychokinesis, because we've also seen, I think it was Ahsoka do this.
Uh-huh.
The power itself is unclearly defined because there's points where
Right.
like Quinlan can touch an artifact and like see its path, like he visually sees it. Cal Kestis can mostly just hear it, but we see Ahsoka has also done a variant of this.
I
I don't
think
know.
she
I
just like
guess he is
feels
using a
things. Yeah.
variant of
Yeah, I think he's just
psychokinesis to like
right.
feel it. I don't think it's quite the same thing, but it's a little unclear as to the breakdown.
I'm just trying to make him cooler than he is. So, I'm just saying like I like to think
You
of
have to
it
make him
as
even cooler.
even cooler, right? Like he just is. Moving on to
Yeah, we do
oh,
see Icarus is working on Maul's legs, so
oh,
like
okay,
they're
there you
trying to repair it. I like that Maul is clearly in pain during this.
go.
Like
Hmm.
it's wired into his nerves. He is undergoing surgery right now without anesthetic.
Which is why he's telling Rook like I don't care right now. Like
Well, also things are working out for him
Mhm.
bizarrely because he is like getting to Devon. Devon is starting to move towards him.
Right.
He is like in charge of the Pikes, like he's starting to rebuild his empire. So even though the empire's here, bizarrely that's working in his favor. I already addressed with the Merrick section that yeah, the empire clearly just lets Lawson go so that they can follow him to the potential Jedi. He's already having a bad day. He gets home and his day is promptly ruined further by the appearance of the Jedi in his house.
Love
End
it.
of episode.
Love it. Good ending. But leads
Yep.
us very easily into the
Bookends
next
us
episode.
right into
Yeah,
episode 6,
which
which
is
we'll talk
fantastic.
about
Yeah.
next week. This episode was written by Jennifer Corbett. That name sounds familiar. It's because she was the lead writer slash showrunner for The Bad Batch. She's also written episodes of Star Wars Resistance. She wrote 3 episodes of that in season 2. So we've talked about her mainly in relation to The Bad Batch. So she is here. She is just not running this one. Matt Minknovitz is taking the lead on this one. But she is here, and it's nice to see her. There is also a new co-director on this episode. So the co-director for this episode, we have Saul Ruiz, who we have talked about before. And there is a new directed by credit, Tatiana Drury Carvin. Tatiana Carvin is mainly in the art department for things. She is the animation supervisor on Star Wars Forces of Destiny. This is her first directing credit, but she has also been a senior storyboard artist on an episode of The Bad Batch, an episode of Tales of the Jedi, and was a storyboard artist on a couple of episodes of the Clone Wars. So, Bradley, do you have any final thoughts on this episode?
Yes, final thoughts are great setup. I'm ready to see more. I I need to see the time on these. Again, I I'm one of those people, I don't mind a longer episode. Just cut them together. Cut them together. This and next week, cut them together. It's
You think it
I
probably
feel
should have
like
been.
at least these two. I don't know if you can do this with every single pair of episodes, but I will say 5 and 6, I feel like they're kind of shorter content-wise, slightly, because it is usually like an action sequence or like whatever. Next week is a lot of chasing and pursuit and whatever. I mean, it's literally a pursuit episode. I would argue put them together. I could see it and then it would be fine. It wouldn't be weird. I don't think it's just a slightly longer episode than normal, maybe like 45 minutes or so, and it would be fine. I don't think it'd be that weird. So,
Yeah, my final thought kind of echoes that. Is this episode, I think you had a good point at the beginning. It really is a lot of setup and relies heavily on the next one. I do think they definitely designed these episodes to be viewed together, which is nice for a change, that it doesn't feel like they're just chopping it up and shoving it out or airing it in weird orders. That this one they knew from the beginning, like 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, etc., etc. So I did like that. I think I didn't expect to have a lot to say about this episode, but it turns out I have a lot to say about this episode
it's good. It's a good one.
because it's good. It's great. There's a lot of little details in this one that I also, my final thought is it's very interesting that they got Jennifer Corbett to write this,
Mm.
because a lot of what we see the Empire doing in this episode echoes the gradual what we saw through the Bad Batch of instituting chain codes and ID and all of that.
I was gonna
So I
say
think it was
it's
very
very
interesting
smart.
that
Yeah.
Corbett was the one who wrote this episode that has a lot of that in the background.
I think that's a really smart thing for them to do because not that Star Wars needs to be so matchy, but I feel like because it's nice to have someone who had sat with that show for, I know the show came out over the course of 3 years, but it took them, 6 or 7 probably to make the show. So someone who sat with that content for so long just knows it in and out like she does. It was really smart of them to get her to write this.
Alrighty, well, that's the episode for the week. What are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're talking about Chapter 6, Night of the Hunted.
Oh boy, I'm real excited to talk about this one.
Pluggables. Quick shout out to stuff that I've been working on. If you're into reality TV, I've had the chance to work behind the scenes on shows such like Married to Medicine on Bravo, The Circle on Netflix, and my newest show right now is season 2 of Temptation Island is on Netflix now.
You can also find me on the Star Wars TTRPG podcast For Light and Dice if you want to explore the High Republic era that I mentioned earlier in this episode. I also write books. Those are available on a couple different platforms. They are also crime dramas called Beach House Studio. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we're doing more fucking Inquisitors. Run our socials. Thank you for listening to Gold Squadron Gaze. Did Charles fuck something up? Email us at goldsquadrongaze@gmail.com and let us know. You can follow us on BlueSky, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Gold Squadron Gaze. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Gold Squadron Gaze, where we post full episodes of this podcast. If you like the podcast, you can also rate us and review us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Please join us next week and every week for another episode of Gold Squadron Gaze. I got my coffee. I got my Holodeck Divas Conversation is Neither Desired Nor Required mug. Ironic, because I won't shut the fuck up on this podcast.